why do I need a primer? And what kind of primer should I use? Primer, it's so much more important than a foundation. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Yeah, I know the background. Yes guys, I decided to change my location because I was so distracted from there, and I always want to kind of whisper when I talk so I don't wake up the sleeping ones. It's a library is that we don't use these days, so I decided to take some books out and just put in at the background. You can see some makeup stuff that I put there because I didn't want to leave it like empty, but I actually don't know what I'm going to be putting there for now, but it's so cute that it's okay with this makeup. All right guys, so today's topic, guys, I want to share something important. That this is literally a question that I always get to hear always, that why do I need a primer? Is it actually necessarily that I need to use it? I thought they said you don't need so much product on your face, on your skin to achieve a flawless look, or what kind of a primer do I need? Alright guys, in today's video I got you, and I am going to be explaining to you why you need a primer and what kind of a primer do you actually need. Like, you know guys, a primer, I think I discussed a bit about it in one of my videos, but that was just a clip, a short talk. But in this video it's going to be an in-depth about it. And guys, you want a primer 100%. I am sure of it, that a primer not just help you like a barrier your skin to other products you're going to use. A primer helps you to just fade out or reduce the appearance of fine lines or pores, impurities and everything. A primer help you to just hide those things, is it wrinkles, I would call it, if you have one. You want to hide them, or you want to minimize the appearance that when you use a foundation, it's going to look like not so obvious, making your foundation or your makeup general to stay in place all day. So you see, you need a primer. A primer helps you to get a flawless look. Like, I remember those days when I used to do a makeup, and I know the difference between then and now. Like, I wish I know these techniques or these tips earlier on, but it's never always late to learn something. That the difference between applying a primer now and when I do not use a primer, there is always a huge difference when you apply it. And the other things has to be what kind of a primer do I need? First, you have to understand your skin. I am an oily person, like a combination. I'm 100%, I would say, combination to dry skin, but sometimes I tend to produce oil extremely. That I still don't understand, but I think I will get to understand the reason for that. So when you have this kind of a skin that you understand, you want to use a primer that is mattifying or any other primer. But I tend to use a primer like mixing together to achieve that. But at the end, I know I definitely need a mattifying primer, which is basic and essential for me. That if not, you're going to run down like feeling oily in just a few minutes or a few hours without using a primer. A primer helps you, like smoothing, or imagine yourself having pores. Okay guys, I made a little clip of video explaining why you need a primer. This video explains a bit that I used my bare skin Once I was using a primer, and I also did use a foundation and the primer, explaining before and after, that when you use a primer, there's a difference. Like when you see it, it's going to be different. And guys, I also want to show you some primers that I use that has worked for me, that I've been using. I have different kinds of primer, and because I understand that I have combination skin, and I also have tends to produce oil, which is not as that I know that it's a combination skin. I have some few ones here that works well for me, which mixed skin. Guys, like you know, I am obsessed with this It's Lauren BLURR primer. This is a BLURR primer, and it's so soft. A BLURR primer for me, I find it necessary because it blurs out those impurities and fine lines and all that. So this is one of my go-to that I end up, after using this maybe as all over, I would go ahead and use any other mattifying or something else to just keep other things in place. I don't use this alone. And I also have, this is a Too Faced Hangover. The reason why I like this is because of the base ingredients inside, and it's silicone free. It's so soft that when I use this, I don't feel matte. That's when I don't want to go matte. Because I know I have combination skin, like I said before, so I can go away with this, which is this, that I definitely gonna use a mattifying primer as well to combine it. And I also lately be using, this is the new ALLSTAR by COLOURPOP. This is a matte and blur primer. This has the purpose of two, like a matte and a blur. So you mean this, it's just a two combination that it's gonna blur out those or fade out something, at the same time it's gonna matte your skin so you do not run oily in few hours, which I do. So that is why I keep using things like this. And as well, I have as well here the DIOR Skin Forever and Everywhere. This primer, it's kind of a pinking undertone. It has a pink undertone in it, like a color correcting. It's not just hold, like it's kind of an oily skin, but it also has like, will I say blur at the same time or color correcting? It has a pink undertone that's color correct. But matte, I do not group it as a 100% matte primer, but it does do something, and because it's color correct at the same time, so that is why I like it. And as well, I have this mattifying primer. This is the new one from Fenty Beauty. This primer, it's so nice. I like the velvet finish at the end. It's very creamy that when you apply it, you do not actually feel so matte, but just allow it to sink into your skin. And guys, I just wanted to point it out that whenever you use a product, be it this or that, like a primer, let me specify that, you want to leave your primer in for a few seconds to sink into your skin, and that way it's going to absorb in and settle well to get the good result that you are actually wanting to see. So you want to leave that into your skin for a few seconds. And I also have this Knees Can't Stop Won't Stop mattifying primer. This primer, it's mattifying primer, but you want to understand the techniques of using this, that it do not absorb, it leaves residue, but when you understand the techniques of using it, it is actually a great good primer to use that just shrink it out. Okay guys, this is this, and I also have SMASHBOX Photo Finish this is the travel size. I always get this travel size because it's always my go-to when I'm traveling or when I'm going for a weekend. This is always what I use. I love the finishing. It's very, very, very smooth. Like if you want that filling space, sometimes I do use it like something like filling in my pores. It's just smoothing everything out that you just feel your face so smooth. I do love this primer, and it holds well. I would not really call it a mattifying primer, but it does something that I'm interested that I need, like just smoothing my pores. It does that. And I think I have an, okay, yes, of course, I have this pore primer. Guys, you know, I have been using this lately and it has been my everyday usage. Like I'm gonna use every other one. I'm gonna end up using this because it feels in my pores, it smoothens it. It's so good, and it's so easy to blend. And yes, this is one of a primer you do not want to miss when you have pores or something. And I think for me, I think it mattifies, I would say, because you want to understand that to yourself to understand if this really works for you. But for me, I think it does more than a pore primer. It does beyond that. And I think, what is it actually the last? Okay, saving this for the last. This is the BECCA PORE Ever Matte Primer. I think a lot of people have this primer. This primer was one of my first ever satisfied pore or matte primer that I was satisfied with, but at a point I was finding it difficult to blend. But when I understood how to blend the techniques and blending it into your skin, you want to have this. I bet you want to have this when you're looking for a very matte, like matte, because the consistency, guys, it's so thick. Is it coming out? Come out. Yeah. The consistency, it's so thick that it holds well. This is the primer I use for my smile lines. This is the only primer that holds that smile lines in place, that stands still. This is the primer. It's, I don't know, it's so good. So guys, these are the primers that works for me as a combination to dry skin person and as well an oily person. These are the primers I use. I kind of mix together or I don't, but the most important thing is when you are oily, you need a primer that is mattifying. And when you are dry skin person, I'm sure there are some here that you can use. I mean, this you can use as well as this and as well as this. You will go well with it. And as well as this, because this is not just matte. I think you can go away with this ones here as maybe you are a matte person, because when you're matte, you don't want to use a mattifying primer. That would be too dry for you and cakey. I mean, it will be so chalked that you don't want to like the feelings at the end when you finish with your foundation. You just feel that your face looks so chalky. Let me put it that way. Yeah, guys, so these are basically the ones I use that it's so important, guys, for you to use a primer. Yeah, I don't know, I think this needs to be said more often so we understand the importance of using a primer. It's not just the smell sometimes, or it's not just how it feels, Why applying it? It is what it does. What does it do to your skin? The barrier, it's one thing. The fine lines, the impurities that you want to fade out to even out your skin while you apply your foundation or after applying or the finishing look. A primer helps that to stay in place. So you don't want to miss it. You want to give it a try. If you haven't tried a primer, it doesn't cost it. There are cheaper ones you can just try out and understand first your skin. That is just basic. If you actually need a dry or oily one, and then apply it, just give it a try and see the difference between when you were using or when you were not using. Just trying to ratio both of them together and do a comparison between that then and now. I bet you guys, I actually have heard this before, like when I was using and when I was not using. It is parallel. Yeah guys, that is basically all for this video. I hope this video helps someone out. I hope you enjoyed this video. And guys, if you do, please do not forget to give it a thumbs up and write down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about primer. And guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so right away and turn on that notification so you do not miss the next upload. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.